A very good morning to all. Today we are going to see software testing unit 2 session 10. In the previous topic we have studied the concept state graph testing. In state graph testing we have understood that how the flow changes, how the transition changes in the system based on the input, and based on the input how it changes the state, how it moves from one state to another state, and that we represent in a state graph, and that we call it as state graph testing. In today's topic, we are going to study compatibility testing. Compatibility testing means, now suppose you have developed one software and how your software is compatible with various infrastructure of the system. So the various infrastructure, like there are so many operating systems, there are so many browsers, there are so many databases available, database softwares available, networks. So how your software works, supports on these various types of infrastructure, and which is the best for your software. Testing is done to ensure that the product feature works consistently with different infrastructure components is called compatibility testing. It tests whether the application or the software product built is compatible with various hardware, operating system, network, database or other system software or not. So as I told you, whether the software product features are compatible with different infrastructure or no, that you are going to test in the compatibility testing. And so many various infrastructures are available, like various hardware, operating system, network. So which is the best for your software, and which is compatible and which gives best performance. You need to do a market survey where you need to find out which is the popular softwares, hardwares which are mostly used by the users, and according to that you are going to test the compatibility testing of your software. The test case results not only depend on product for proper functionality, they depend equally on the infrastructure for delivering functionality. So they depend equally on the infrastructure for delivering functionality. So as I told you, there are so many varieties of internet. For example, browsers are available, operating systems are available. So it is not possible to test on every operating system, to test on every browser, to test on every flash player. You need to do the market surveys, and you need to restrict, you need to limit your requirements for your software, and that you're going to find out in a compatibility testing. See, for example, suppose there is a website and you have developed the website and you need to test the website on the various configurations. See, if you consider the operating system, there are so many operating systems available: Windows, Mac, Linux. And if you consider the browsers, so to run your website, you need to run it on you need an operating system, you need a browser. There are Internet Explorer available, Firefox, Opera, Mozilla, Safari. These are the various browsers. And Flash Player, which supports the browsers, Flash Player 6, 7, 8, and Java Virtual Machine programming language. So there are so many infrastructures available. So if you consider all operating system, there are total 9 operating system, 10 browsers, Flash players and Java Virtual Machine. So total, if you multiply these all, then total you need to conduct 1440 test cases. You need to design 1440 test cases, and so many times, 1440 times you need to conduct the test, and which may be not possible. So according to the market survey, which is the most popular softwares, which is mostly used mostly by the users, which infrastructure gives the best performance, and which is supportable, compatible, according to that you are going to select the requirements for your software and you are going to perform the compatibility testing on that. So as I told you, way of limiting the number of test cases. So it is not possible to select every test cases. So Based on minimum specification of software, so you decide the minimum specification of software where your software can be used. Restrict it to the most popular configuration. So find out which are the most popular configurations and which are mostly used by the users, and according to that you perform the compatibility testing. Using help desk data and surveys to determine configurations on which issues were faced most on previous version. So you need to conduct the surveys and you need to find out the issues which were faced by the earlier compatibility testing. From this you can decide the compatibility testing, how much you are going to perform. So the parameters that affect the compatibility of the product are processors. See, there are so many processors available in the market: Pentium 3, Pentium 4, Pentium 5, and the latest one is Pentium 7. Obviously all softwares work very fast in the Pentium 7, but it is very costly. Most of the users cannot afford it. So most of the users may prefer Pentium 3. So the software which you developed must be able to support this Pentium 3 because most of the users use that Pentium 3 systems. Architecture and characteristics of the machine. So there are two types of architectures available of computer machine: 32-bit and 64-bit. So the various architecture is there for 32-bit and 64-bit. So how your software supports, how your software is running in 32-bit system and 64-bit system. You need to test it. Must be able to run on both 32-bit and 64-bit because it is a needed condition of any software. Resource availability on machine like RAM, disk space and network card. So resource availability is how much RAM your system has. Now suppose your software, now take the example, the Android software. Okay, to run the Android software on the system, it needs at least 4 GB of RAM. If the 4 GB is not there on your system, if there is only 2 GB, then the Android software may not work properly on your system. It may become very slow or it may go on hanging. So you need to perform the compatibility testing related to this resource availability. Next, equipment that the product is expected to work with: printers, modems and routers. Says what facility you are going to use for your software product: printers, modems, routers. Are they supporting your software or no? Are they compatible with your software or no? Okay, printers, then which type of printers are compatible, which type of modems are compatible, routers are compatible. You need to test this. As I told you, there are various operating systems and it may not possible to test on various operating systems. So you can limit those to only Windows and Linux where your software works best. Middle tier infrastructure components are like web server, application server and network server. If your softwares are server-based projects or server-based software, so for which servers your software works properly, compatible, you need to test it. Backend components are nothing but your database softwares or servers. Okay, like Oracle and SQL, you use database softwares to store the data. If you consider in the companies where a lot of huge data is stored, so database servers, database software should work properly in these companies and should be compatible with database softwares. Any software used to generate product binaries, compiler, as if a software needed to use compilers Linux, then you need to find out that you need to test that, or any other various technological components. So these all are the parameters that affect the compatibility of the product, or you can say the infrastructure. Your software product must be compatible with all these parameters. Now for example, you take your developed one software and using the computers, and you all know that your software works properly on the computers. But if your software is working properly on the computer, you cannot say that your software is also working on the mobile phones. And you can see the today's trend is that most of the users use mobile phones and they operate everything using the mobile phones. That is the today's trend and today's demand, that whatever the softwares you develop or the applications you develop or the websites you develop should be able to support the mobile phones, should be able to do all the transactions, proper flow, and should be able to perform all the applications on the mobile phones. How we are able to do using the computer, same way should be able to perform using the mobile phones also. And various mobile phones are also having various softwares, various Android softwares like Lollipop Android software, Jelly Bean Android software. So many are available. Different again in that we have. So in which type of was this Android software, Android version, your softwares are compatible. You need to also find out that. We have two types of compatibility testing, backward compatibility and forward compatibility. The testing that ensures the current version of the product continues to work with the older versions of the same product. That means whatever the current version of your software is there must be able to also support the older versions. And forward, that is, describes a system that is designed in such a way that it fits with planned future versions of itself. So forward compatibility is whatever the current version of software is there must be also able to support future versions. For example, see this, a user has created a very complex sheet to track project schedule, resources, expenses using Excel sheet 2000. That means the user has created one file in a Excel 2000. Now whatever he has created using the Excel 2000 must be able to also support the future versions. Now the user upgrades his MS Office to 2010 version. The functions that were working on MS Office 2000 must be also able to work on MS Office 2010. That is, the older version should continue to work on the latest versions. Now you develop the file using 2000. So your file should open in a 2010 version also and must support and must be compatible with all the functions of 2010. See, this is another example. Compatibility matrix for a mail application. Now if you are designing the mail application, see the various servers you needed here, application servers you need here, web servers, client, which browser, which MS Office, and mail system. So if you select here particular server, Windows 2000 Advanced Server, for that the application server like .NET Framework and web server IIS 5.0 and client server this Internet Explorer 6.0 and MS Office XP. So this is the best which works for this Windows 2000 Advanced Server. Okay, so this is compatible with that all softwares. Now this is another situation, another case where this all feature is compatible with this all. So every time you see here you are using Windows 2003 and see application server is different here, or application server you can also keep here same. Then web server is different, client is different, see various versions. So you can also form the compatible matrix for a mail application for your software which is compatible and which are the required softwares for your system. If there are many, you can also restrict to any particular requirement by doing the surveys and by finding out which are the best. So in today's topic, we have completed the compatibility testing, which is very important to restrict our hardware and software requirements, and for which type of hardware and software requirements or the various infrastructure of the system our developed software supports and works best. Thank you.